So Noah, like turquoise, this color turquoise is featured in the show, but it's also just because it kind of featured in the '90s.
Hmm.
What was your favorite turquoise item in the '90s?
Man, favorite turquoise item. I was a fan of like Robin Egg Blue and like the blues in my 90s. So I gotta go with like probably the Crayola box, but really shouts in my head is like the poster art for Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh yeah,
If that rings a bell to anyone. Like to me,
definitely has
turquoise,
that like pastel looking colors.
yeah, Heffa and Rocco, the whole gang.
Highly recommend that show. Very good.
Mm.
Yes, Max.
I have a good answer to this. My mom had a 1994 Pontiac Grand Am in turquoise. That's how I learned the word turquoise. Highly recommend taking a quick Google.
I'm
I
a
definitely
turquoise.
had a turquoise van as well in the
Oh,
'90s. But I
yeah,
feel like the thing I remember the most that was turquoise is the Charlotte Hornets. They were big
that's
turquoise.
true. Big Turks.
Man, I can really see Pam in this car. This car feels 90s Pam.
Yeah.
Man.
All
Anyway,
right. All right, let's get to it.
Oh wait, but one quick thing, Max.
yeah,
Supposedly it was not turquoise, it was teal.
I was told turquoise.
Man, yeah, it looks like that car did not come in turquoise.
Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 2, Episode 22, where we watch Designing Sense, Season 3, Episode 7, and you want that black line to wiggle and jiggle. I'm Chris Lorenz.
It's gonna be wild, but you can do wild in a laundry room. This is Noah Singer.
It's unfinished and uninspiring. This is Max.
Those are all quotes from this week's show, but last week we watched The Snake on Hulu. In our Twitter versus YouTube battle, Twitter got more votes.
Dang.
But the overall vote threshold is top third show. So there you have it. Tell us what you thought about this week's show on YouTube, or if you must, on x.com. Noah, what was this week's show?
Decorating Sense is for homeowners who care about and want variety in home decor, but are trying to stay within an affordable budget. That is Designing Sense on HG, or was on HGTV and now temporarily available on Discovery Plus or for purchase on Amazon.
Thank you, Noah. And we're doing the show because it got big on TikTok. And I think Noah might have shared it first.
Yeah.
And now I get these all the time right now. So,
And I see a lot of this specific episode just because it's
Yeah.
particularly ridiculous.
Shout out
really?
to
Oh,
shout out
interesting.
to Rob Anderson on TikTok,
Yes. Rob.
which he's been doing some funny stuff. I get him. I follow him on the TikToks.
Yeah.
So essentially, the show is from the '90s to I think the mid 2000s. There's like a mid 2000s episode on YouTube, but we're doing one from the '90s, and it's like a local TV show, like a TV news segment about like redesigning a room for $500, extended into a whole show.
It's crazy. It's really from a whole other era of HGTV.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
one was
the goal
actually
of
about home in the home and
the,
garden part.
the goal of the show is renovate one room creatively for $500 or less. Now, I
Well,
don't know why they called it decorating cents and not decorating $500, but
because
Yeah.
that's just the first segment.
Well, what's interesting though, that is the constant.
yeah,
So like every episode, right? $500 or less. Which
The
I was
next
surprised it was not the
episode,
whole show. Sorry, Chris. Yeah.
yeah, the next episode had the next segment on it too. I think it, at least at this time, had a pretty formulaic design a room, $500. Then they cut to these guys who made furniture out of garbage, and then they cut to an interview about somebody's house that they've decorated.
It was
Yeah.
one of the most disjointed things I've seen in a second.
Which, mind you, this decorating the room for $500, insanely fun. Like they do insane things, especially in this episode.
And that's like
And
$1,000 today. What do you think? Like,
Probably. Let me
I'll
look
I
go.
at
wrote
that.
Let
down
me
the
go in the
prices
corner.
they gave.
Let me go in the corner. I'll come back in a second.
All right. I trust Nova. Yeah, certainly some of the things that they were saying you could get a faux granite countertop for $78. That's bullshit. You can't do that. That's inflated as hell nowadays.
A
But yeah,
Formica.
let's talk about this renovated room. What aesthetic do you think they went for? So they're renovating a laundry room, and it's just a blank laundry room with like exposed house bones and water heater and stuff.
It's got a
And they say,
fridge.
let's make it fun.
They
How do they?
definitely seems like a Dr. Seuss vibe to me.
I was thinking more Rugrats title card.
Rugrats
Hmm.
could see that.
Well, it kind of has this like cutout thing. Like, there's this new New York restaurant that looks like this. You know what I'm talking about, Max?
I do.
Yeah,
But
I'm
it's all.
gonna Google it.
It doesn't quite look like
Shira,
this.
yeah,
It's black and white entirely, and it kind of looks like pencil shading and stuff.
yeah,
But
Shirokuro.
definitely, yes. I have
It's like a
no other
'90s
thought.
version of that. I don't know. It's like cut out, like comic, little bit of comic book. It's like
The,
this
the
2D effect.
the walls are big, wide, neon green and white stripes with like painted black between them. Uh, it's garish as hell
Yeah, but you know why they did that?
because it's fun.
Because the wall they got to cover up the hot water heater was
Mhm.
colored the same way. So it was white
Oh.
and green, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do white and green stripes across the whole place now.
And they say stuff like that is so artsy. You don't get that
Yeah,
on TV nowadays.
the
Nobody's
one-liners are pretty good. Oh, this is just too delicious.
pro tip we learned from the show: if you happen to be painting 2 to 12 doorknobs, get a egg crate and make holes in it and put the doorknobs on top to paint them. What a
Great.
great
That is
hack
a good
that
tip. That
everybody
is
will
a good
find.
tip.
I mean,
Yeah,
when you're doing cabinets, maybe that's a thing that would actually happen.
yeah.
I think it
Honestly,
sounds so
I'm
ridiculous.
making
Like,
fun of it, but if you were doing your cabinets, yeah, it's good to
Yeah,
know.
it's very good. It's
I
I
feel
very,
like
think
very
it
6
sounds
months
so
from now,
ridiculous.
one of you is going to come back and say, "I used this trick."
totally.
All right, Noah. There are for 5 colors that they used to paint with. How many colors can you get?
It was like a green, a blue, I want to say like a yellow, a red, and a purple. Uh,
You got one.
how
Max,
many more colors are there?
Max, what were the colors? Be as specific as you can be.
Cyan, magenta, yellow, turquoise, opal. I don't fucking know.
You also got one.
Okay,
You got turquoise, and Noah
cool.
got green. The other colors were periwinkle blue,
Oh,
Mm,
duh.
pink, and sun yellow.
I said
I said
yellow.
yellow. Yeah.
That you did
Yeah,
not say sun yellow.
No.
Chris, you let's say theoretically you were a 2-year-old baby and you had to draw a picture of the sun. What color would you draw the sun?
Sun yellow. Obvi.
Mm,
Yellow, I don't know what that color is. I only know what sun yellow is.
Sun level. Man, Yeah, so they paint this room, and
They
it
put
comes
down
out.
some they put
Yeah.
down some cabinets that they
Yeah.
paint crazy fucking colors, and then
Mhm.
they get a Formica top to put on their cabinets to make it like kind of a desk working area esque kind of thing.
Mhm.
And they iron on the sides, which I
It's
guess is a
great.
thing. I have
Cool
no
trick.
idea.
So crafty.
Yeah.
So artsy.
Good answer. Good answer.
Mhm.
Um, what else did they put on? They had a bulletin board and pegboard that was $16, and that
Ooh.
counter that we talked about $70.
They had
And
the 3D boards of like what you were talking about with the restaurant.
no, they were what did they call them? You're getting ahead of me. Uh,
Sorry, continue your list, Chris. Don't let me put
they
you
were
off.
foam core. They were foam core, and they cut out like the shape of a shirt and then painted a shirt on it,
How
and then
fun!
hung it on the wall. And the best part about this is they were like, now we have to add our clothesline, and then
Hmm.
they painted on the clothesline.
Hey,
Uh,
cheaper than
there, were,
real clothesline.
there was also a shelf that was $35. I'd
I like,
argue that
you're doing good here. Yeah, I like the details.
I'd argue that a clothesline would be cheaper than the paint if
Hmm.
they didn't already have the paint.
They explicitly said the paint is the cheapest part of the renovation.
Yes. Yeah. That's the way to go.
You need the
Uh,
cheapest paint. But then we got an ironing board for $20, a drying rack
Mhm.
for $10, a hamper for $7, and a bin for $10.
I will say, purely from a form or a function over form perspective, I think they added a lot of functionality to this room.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
functionality that they added to this room, great. The aesthetics, I think, were fine to a point until they did the next thing, where they
Oh my god.
painted a carpet on the floor. Like, it's gaudy, it's ugly. You'll never be able to get rid of it. It's terrible. It's like the worst thing anything that
It
you
can't
could do
get
on the
dirty too. Carpet's so hard to clean. You get the best of both worlds.
Noah, would you because the one person was like, how do we make sure that this stays forever? And like, oh, you
Right.
got to put some sealant on it. Would you put the sealant on it? Like,
I
because clearly they came in for a day, did all this shit. They're not coming back tomorrow to put sealant on it. Are you
no.
gonna put the sealant on it?
I don't know. I think you want to put the sealant well on it. Uh, like I don't know. I think the whole permanent rug thing is a great idea.
You think it's a great idea?
I think it's awesome. You get the benefit of the rug. You don't got to clean it like a rug. You can clean it like a wood floor or a sealed piece of plastic. Wonderful.
I looked it
Wonderful.
up. This isn't even the first time or the last time they've painted the rug. Uh, I just watched a clip with captions, and they said you could do this because then you could swap it out every season.
You gonna repaint your carpet on?
You can repaint your carpet every season. What a treat!
I.
Ooh, I like that.
It's probably easier for you to just get carpet and swap the carpet out every season. Like you still got to remove everything from where you put the carpet
Mm,
to paint it.
yeah. Hmm.
I will say the theme of this area, quote unquote, rug was floral, and I actually liked the flowers they painted.
Yeah, Rob posted something on TikTok where they painted a flower on the wall and it looked
Yeah.
hella ugly.
Hmm.
So
Well,
that aesthetically, like this room is fine.
Well,
It's fine.
when
yeah.
they were wrapping up this segment, they called it whimsical and fun.
Mm. I mean, I don't. It's just like a home job. Like I don't know. Like I feel like Rob Anderson's comparing it to like a professional thing, and it's not. It's like someone having fun. I think for that, it's great. You know, it has like a warmth to it.
Yeah, I I don't want to go into a laundry room and be like, "Oh my god, I'm at Chuck E. Cheese's." That's not what that room is for.
Hmm.
I don't
What
want
if
my
it was
Yeah, I
your
think you
hanging
want
out in
to.
the fucking
Yeah.
laundry room all the time with the water heater and the piece of wall that could fall over at any moment.
Max? What if I put a chair down there and forced you to do your homework in that room?
Mm.
I would call CPS.
I mean, fairly so. You drew the
Not,
carpet on the floor. That's an immediate get. Like, take him
Yeah.
out of there. I think you're giving this home decoration thing, Noah, too much credit.
I don't
Like
know. Like
this episode was fine, but like some of the
yeah,
other things on the show are really bad.
it
Like there was a segment that was
yeah.
pulled out of context, but they like put
The
on
lamp.
a book on like some sort of cabinets. They like
Mm.
pasted pages on and they didn't like it and they tried to take it off and it didn't work. So they were just like,
Yeah.
it looks fine. And you're like, no, no, it does not look fine.
Yeah, no, that was yeah, I watched them too. Yeah, it was interesting. Like then they took the pages off and I was like, ooh, it's not gonna look good. Then they zoom out, I'm like, oh, that really doesn't look good. But then they also like painted like some cabinets white. And like at first I thought it like looked okay. Then they also zoomed out and it looked not that good. I was like, so it's really unclear what's happening.
Well,
Very
I also
unclear.
guess it's the other thing we didn't really talk about was
Mm,
that the show is hosted by Joan Steffend.
yes.
Do you know what? You should figure out what Joan Steffen's up to nowadays.
She's a
Uh,
grandma.
How do you know that?
There's a few articles that have been like, "What's Joan up to?" This is blowing up on the TikToks.
Okay.
she is no longer in the decorating world, really. She wrote a book or something. I looked this up
Right.
earlier with you.
Yeah. But I do have an interesting, real hot take. Not hot take, sorry. Just a very deep, deep corner. So in the second segment of the show, they go over like these lamps, and like they have like an expert lamp guy come in, like a secondhand like expert interior design. His name's Rob Whitleff. And I'm like, what's this Rob guy up to? He's now he helps run a marketing agency that is the only scalable omni-channel AR driven AI powered shopping and marketing platform created for the modern social visual retail commerce landscape.
That seems like a lot of
Did you
qualifiers.
get that on TikTok or not TikTok? LinkedIn.
It's off his LinkedIn. I was just like, oh god, it's definitely the right guy because he has on air host for Designing Sense, and
He
he
still has
then
that on his LinkedIn.
oh yeah, well he was an on air personality for the Scripps Network Interactive, which includes HETV's Designing Sense, also appearing on interior design segments on the early show on CBS E, CBS Style Network Inside Edition.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, before we get to Rob, we should talk about that person that actually decorated this room was somebody named Nancy Golden.
oh yeah, Nancy.
What's Nancy up
Nancy.
to?
Yeah, figure out what
Yeah.
Nancy Golden's up to.
Yeah.
So she comes in and has this idea for this room, and Joan just plays the like fun, bubbly host that gives all the fun one-liners, like
Mm.
fun, functional laundry, and fun, funky colors.
Mm-hmm.
F is a constant.
She just comes in. She tries to spice it up, sprinkle a little bit of Nancy dust.
So if
Uh,
we have to blame anyone, we have to blame Nancy.
I've
Nance.
I have some good Nancy lore. I just looked up. Her son is a current HGTV star.
Oh, I see this. Yeah. Wow.
Chip off the block.
Whoa. No, her son is big time. Nate Burkus. That's big.
How comes they have different last names?
I have a different last name from my mom.
Her name's Nancy Levin now. So she
Oh,
went from Nancy Golden to Nancy Levin.
Oh, Jewish last name.
Oh yeah. That's crazy. So
Do you
it's
think
like
Levin?
yeah.
Do you think
Huh?
Levin is the last name of like a baker?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where it comes from. See where
All right. So that was the most interesting segment of the show. We could talk about the
Yeah.
second segment, which Rob was the person being interviewed by
Hmm.
Joan. And Rob's job is to make garbage out of garbage. So he found a pillar and he turned it into a lamp with a shoddy stand and a purchased shade
Mm-hmm.
that he decoupaged, which
Oh, they
I
like
don't really
saying
know what that means, but they did it.
they love that word. They really do. It means decorating by gluing paper.
mm. I didn't know there was a word for that. Learn something new every
Pretty.
day.
I mean, the lamp was fine, but just like okay.
Yeah, it's unclear. Like, I'm all for sustainability or whatever. Unclear why you would go through all this trouble for a really ugly pedestal lamp.
Yeah.
And then you get to the last segment, or they called what do they call that segment? Trash to treasure, not
Yes.
trash to trash, but you know. Then the last segment, they interviewed somebody with a pretty ugly house. Like one side of the house had vines on it, and one side of the house didn't have vines. And it looked like they cut it directly down the center, and I thought it looked pretty ugly. But
I thought it was unremarkable, but yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of like a micro cribs, but you're not seeing a famous person's house. It's just like, this
Mm.
is my living room. Here's a couple
micro
details.
cribs is the best way to describe this segment. It's just like we made this, we made that.
Yeah. But that lady was so grandma niceness.
It's very
I mean,
humble cribs for a little
Yeah.
Maine
Noah,
cottage
don't you
vibe.
know you could put outside junk in a bowl on your living room table and it makes it
Mm.
seem all, seasony.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
You got to put the
Mm.
acorns and the flowers and all that junk on, so it looks like fall. And in the spring, you got to put all the rabbits in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
Gotta.
that's how it works.
You're missing out. Missing out.
Um, what else did they say? They said some like pie chest or something, and I was like, "What
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck
the
is a pie safe?"
there's like a pie cabinet that they turned into like a furniture cabinet, like a pie drawer. I forgot the name of
They
it.
called it a pie safe. That's what I wrote
Ooh,
down.
pie safe. Great name. Like your pies are so valuable. You gotta.
Every house needs a pie safe.
I think it just kind of looked like a safe.
Mm, that would
It
be
was
a
like
good thing. Like imagine like creating like your Redfin listing.
a house comes with a pie safe.
Pie safe. Yeah. Stand out. Definitely stand out.
A pie safe, also called a pie chest, a pie cupboard, and a kitchen safe, and
Hmm.
meat safe, is a piece of furniture designed to store pies and other food items. This
Hmm.
was a normal household item before ice boxes came into regular use. It was an important
Oh.
part of American households starting in the 1700s and continuing through the 1800s.
Oh. Do you think um a meat safe is like a meat cute? But like, it's safe.
Yeah, yeah, it's safety
No,
first.
Max, let that sit. Okay, all right, we can just move on.
Marinate in the meat safe.
We can move on from that segment.
Just
Uh,
marinating. Marinating. I think it's the proper.
The other thing that I wanted to note about the show is that as the next episode went on, there was a pretty good jingle, I thought, for the.
Oh,
It's like the time of when like shows had jingles, and I
I
thought it was pretty good.
I don't know. I feel like it sounds like if you're like, hey Siri, play me AI music or like AI Muzak. This is this is the music it would play you. It's like the default song they put on like those auto generated like movies out of pictures in your Photos app. Dun, 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 dun.
Disagree.
I don't remember any jingles. I do remember actually, like when they came back from commercial breaks, there was a little jingle.
There
It's
was
good.
lots of jingles. It was like montage jingles. Like it plays in the background and
Yeah, bring back jingles.
yeah.
Bring
One
back.
note I forgot to bring up, man, this was a good one. The green they use in the laundry room looks identical to Nickelodeon slime green.
I completely agree.
It's like so.
Spot on.
Yeah,
Slime Time
yeah.
Live coded.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh, do we have any other minutia for this show?
That's all I got.
It was
No.
I was
pretty
trying to
short.
look up. I was looking up Steve Endelman was the producer of the
Mhm.
show,
Oh yeah.
and I
So
was trying to look him up, and he did like there's Steve Endelman Productions, and they made a bunch of HGTV shows,
how nice.
but that's about it. Like
Mm.
Curb Appeal, Double Take, House Detective.
It is crazy to me that there's no wiki for this show.
You should make it.
Right. It's
There is
nuts.
there is another show called Design on a Dime where you have to revitalize on a budget of only $1,000. So it sounds like
Mm.
a spin-off of Decorating Sense.
Designing.
Design on a Dime.
Design on that dime.
Now you're coming up with your own jingles.
Yeah, I'd love to be a jingle maker. Man,
That
what a
show
good life.
that doesn't exist anymore. No one makes jingles. I mean
Missed
that
out.
McDonald's one has been the same jingle for like 40 years. And like
No, they came out with that in like early 2000s, right? It's like 20 years old. Right? That one?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it's like 40 years old.
but they're
I
not
don't,
changing it. And like
I,
all
yeah.
these like insurance companies, they still have the Gecko guy's been around for freaking ever,
Yeah, the
and
gecko's been around.
the
Yeah.
the guy that gets in all those accidents has been around forever. Like
Mayhem. Yeah.
there you go.
No, I mean, that has been still, it's like, it's just so effective, right? Like, and like, people like them. I think people like the gecko. They don't dislike the gecko.
So who's the worst human being? And I'm gonna nominate Nancy Golden for decorating that room.
Mm,
Not too many humans to choose from in this episode.
no, I don't know. I feel like Rob Whitleff, I mean, less from the episode, but he went on to create the, only omni-channel scaled
Yeah,
AI shopping marketing solution for miniature palm held. Like,
I
Pretty
think
good.
there was onto something here.
It's
I,
fair.
I agree with Noah.
Uh,
sorry, Rob.
Noah, what speed did Max watch this show at?
I think this is a good 1.2. 1.2.
All right, I'll take 1.5. Max.
This show was short and sweet, and I watched it at 1x.
Ooh,
Oh,
ooh.
and you didn't spoil it this time.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I
And
learned
my
my
and my
lesson.
streak comes to an end.
You
My
win, Noah.
zero,
You're
my
closest.
zero run streak comes to an end.
Yeah. Well, I did win, but I didn't get it. I didn't win both showcases, right?
You got the consolidation showcase.
I just win. Yeah, I just win my own showcase, which is fine.
All right, drinking rules. Noah, what kind of drinking rule you got for me?
Yes. Every time you see a color that matches your drink, you take a drink.
Max, what do you got for me?
If you are wearing a shirt color represented in the show, drink your shirt.
You got to drink every time you see something that you're like, oh God, don't do that.
Ooh,
You got
yeah.
to.
Hmm. Yes.
Every time Joan Strefford says, "I'm Joan Strefford," take a drink.
Every time they say something is artsy, delicious, incredible, lovely,
Oh,
some positive
that's a
superlative.
that's a good one. That's a good one. I kept trying to get my wife to come on the podcast because she was pretty entertained by her doing. It was pretty entertaining to watch her watch the show too because she was like, "Yeah, this room's not too bad. They didn't do anything permanent." And then the next thing they do is they paint on the floor, and my wife's like, "No, don't do that. You can't take that off."
It was crazy. It was a
Uh,
fever dream to watch.
yeah.
You know what would
So
be nice if we can find out the address of the house and we could like look at back at its last like listing on
Mm,
Redfin and we could see like where is it today?
I'm
Oh, that
sure it's
reminds me.
normal.
We didn't talk about at the end of the show. There was a mail to us
Yes.
or call us and tell us what you thought about this episode of television.
I know.
No internet. Please mail our PO box. Which I mean, admittedly, I remember WB had that in like 2001.
I
Totally.
don't
Yeah.
remember that. I don't remember any show asking me to mail in anything.
Less shows and more like sweepstakes or something, but run on the television. Like
Or like you can get tickets, like want to be in the studio audience or whatever, like mail
I feel like
whatever.
at the end of Maury, they like have or shows like that. They have like PO box for comments, etc.
Show. Yeah, totally. Faux show.
Bring it back.
Faux
Bring it
show.
back. All right. Would this show be better as a TikTok or a Quibi?
Yeah, because the segments were short. They're like
They're kind of TikTok like. You could condense each segment into like a TikTok.
Yeah.
half a segment. Yeah, I mean, I know the TikToks can be long, but like I think you'd lose a lot of attention. Like I think half a segment.
No, you just cut it. You just cut it to TikTok.
Oh. So you're TikToking it. Okay,
Yeah,
I
you
got you.
TikTok it. It would be the same show.
Yeah,
Like
it would. Yeah.
like it doesn't take more than a minute to tell you how you like make a lamp.
No, you get less of like the Ken Burns shots of every change. You
Yeah.
just cut.
Cut that. Um all right. Now we do ratings where we do top, middle, and bottom third compared to other reality shows. Noah, what do you got for me?
Yeah, there's a like what's it? I don't know the right term for it, but it's like when people in the South say like you're very special or like bless your
Bless your
heart.
heart.
Yeah, right. Like there's something about that here. Um, it's not really like the first segment is nice to watch because it's so extreme. The rest of the show I found to be extremely mind numbing. Um, so I think there's some goodness here. I think everyone's generally happy and upbeat, which I give them credit for. Like they're really having fun. I think they truly do like it. So I think it's got to be middle. I want to put it in the bottom or top, but unfortunately, I think it's just a solid middle. Um, yeah, solid middle.
What do you got for me, Max?
I largely agree with Noah, but I think if this show just doubled down on the format of the first segment, just showed two per episode, easy top. Absolutely unhinged what they do. It's thrilling to watch. And then there's the other 12 minutes of the episode for some fucking reason. But yeah, middle third, maybe top of the middle. I don't know. It was so short. It was funny to watch. I'm in.
Yeah, I struggle with this one because it's like the show itself, I think, is bottom third, but it's like
Mm,
fun to watch the first segment in a way, but it's also just like a little boring too. It's not constant laughs, it's just like, but sometimes you're like, oh man, that might be actually be good, and you're like, but I wanted to laugh. And I have
yeah.
a lot of emotions going on while watching the show. I watched kind of the next show too,
Mm,
and I stopped. Like the next show is like a kids' room, and like kids' room can be crazy. It doesn't have to be normal. The kids'
mm,
room is crazy, but like it's not like there's nothing to laugh at.
yeah. Yeah.
So like I feel like the TikTok version of the show is what I want, and that's what I'm gonna stick with. So I'm just gonna put in the bottom. Screw you guys. I think this
Ooh,
show is not fun enough to watch.
ooh. I get it. I can't have strong opinions about this show.
Yeah.
I
We got
can't.
you.
I won't. I have cannot. Never. All right. So now we do shout outs of other stuff we've been watching. Any shout outs, Noah?
I don't think I've been watching anything new because we binged The Pit, and we were still binging that last week. Um,
It's good.
I listened to an interesting podcast episode. Actually, two podcast things I'll throw out. One I probably talked about before, which was the Michael Lewis podcast as part of Pushkin. Um, Something that breaking the rules or something. I forgot what it's called. But if you look at Michael Lewis podcast, the latest season's on like gambling in America, like sports betting, and like basically
Uh-huh.
it's teenagers getting hooked. Pretty interesting. There's an app called Fliff where like basically they're like skirting like having to be a certain age to bet because they give you like Fliff coins and like
Hmm.
somehow they make it like a sweepstake instead of gambling, although it's legit gambling, which is pretty eye opening for me because I knew that was a popular app, but I didn't really know what was going on. So pretty interesting. I don't know. I like his podcast. I like Pushkin content. It's good. The other one was an interesting interview with Max's favorite person, Peter Thiel. So there's a New York Times reporter named Ross Douthat. Douthat. I don't know.
Literally, both of them are like nightmare blunt rotation for me.
Yeah, I know you don't like the Ross guy either. I know he went through the muck rake, but like, so he interviews Peter Thiel's released like a week ago. Um, like Peter Thiel's like a weird man, but he does have his very stark opinions, and he talks in this like weird academic philosopher jargon. I think it's interesting to hear his take because he is an influential person, regardless. Um, Not no arguments to win you over, but he just basically thinks that like we're not progressing enough technologically, and just interesting. It's nice to have your thoughts pushed. I'd say not convincing, just interesting.
He
This is what
takes
Peter Thiel said.
Yeah, Peter Thiel.
And how does getting all these Republicans elected contribute to technology moving faster?
less regulation? Question mark.
It's unclear. I mean, he tries to pin him down, and Peter Thiel just kind of like tries to play a mind game and trying to get around it. Largely, Peter Thiel's thesis is technological advancement has drastically slowed down since the 1970s compared to like the 100 years before that. Where that if you take someone from the 1920s and put them in the 1970s, they'd be like, what the hell's going on? Where if you take someone today from the 1970s, be like, okay, there's no mobile phones, but kind of looks the same. Um, and so he thinks that Trump coming in and validating that, like, yes, America is losing its grip on greatness. He like, even though he didn't think he was the best messenger, he's like, I was happy to support a politician who could say that. That's kind of his argument. Again, I think it's all kind of not convincing, but that was his argument.
Noah, is there ever some point in the interview where he's asked, "Do you think humanity should continue to exist?" and he doesn't give an affirmative answer after 10 seconds?
That is this interview. Yes, it was
Sounds like a
bizarre.
really swell guy. I'm glad he is giving money to so many politicians.
Yeah, that was a weird part. It's like you're pausing on this one,
It seems like a
like
gimme.
yeah, it's again, it's just interesting to hear him speak. I find it at least, but bizarro.
All right. After all that, Max, any shout outs?
I saw 28 Years Later. That was quite good. I saw Bring Her Back, horror movie, really horrifying. Good. What else? That's about it. Yeah.
I'm going to
Oh,
shout.
I watched slash rewatched Wet Hot American Summer yesterday.
I don't think I've
Oh,
ever seen that.
Good comedy. Uh, the cast is so stacked.
Yeah, I know it's a classic.
I remember watching it because Netflix was doing like a weird prequel thing, I think.
It was like it was a sequel, but yeah, and they made a TV series out of it for some reason.
Mm.
And I thought the movie was fine. And I was like, oh, the show. Or I liked the movie if I remember correctly. But then the show just like did not work for me at all.
Hmm.
But my shout out this week is a book series, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Great audiobooks, really fun, just kind of easy listening, go on a fun adventure, you know, something for that you need in this world with Peter Thiel. Uh, that's it for us this week. Tell us what you thought about the show on YouTube and x.com. You can find us on facebook.com. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. See you guys next time.